travel and tourism is often overlooked. Ours is the sector connecting people and businesses to the world. And while life has changed in 2020, travel remains an essential part of life. And not just for the traveller, but for every business, every community, and every ecosystem, in every destination they visit. For nearly a decade, we have consistently outpaced the global economy, and across the world, governments are recognizing and realizing the importance of investment in their sector. But beyond the data, there is an often unrealized yet equally important chapter to this remarkable story. Because our sector wields the incredible power of positive change. Together in travel and tourism, we not only support and improve the lives of people from across the globe, but sustain and care for the fabric and infrastructure of the world we live in. For every hotel stay, for every flight taken, for every destination visited, we create jobs which provide people the opportunity to shape their own future, to feed their families, preserve their cultures and traditions, and improve the quality of the lives they lead. In the last 5 years, 1 in 4 of all new jobs were created by our incredible sector, which accounts for 330 million jobs around the world. We play an important role in empowering women and young people too. Research shows that within travel and tourism, women make up 54% of the workforce. It also employs a higher share of youth workers than other industries, who account for 30% of the sector's employment, embracing a diverse, inclusive, and multicultural workforce. The revenue we generate also supports the cost of infrastructure projects to improve education, to build housing and provide health services, increasing the overall well-being of life in local communities, whilst redistributing socio-economic power, helping developing nations prosper. And it's not just the human world that feels the positive effects of travel. It also improves the natural world too. Conservation and anti-poaching efforts around the world rely on the income from tourism to defend the natural wonder of our planet and provide us with the means to travel and experience the world in a sustainable, positive way. We at the World Travel and Tourism Council are realizing a new future. For the last 30 years, we have been the voice of the global private sector. By uniting government and industry leaders and engaging with communities, we will lead the economic recovery of our sector to a safe and sustainable future. A future where we will continue to create jobs, empower and protect the people, communities and natural wonders that make travel and tourism so special. Because this is the power to create a better world. The power of travel and tourism.
How are you? Can you feel it in the air? Yes, I mean that little buzz of optimism in our industry. A new chapter, maybe. I mean, even the UK today is sunny. It's been sunny this morning. It's fantastic. Now, today's summit follows last week's highly successful in-person conference in Dubai, where the mood, I gather, was indeed one of optimism in the one region in the world, the Middle East, which is probably the most advanced in terms of emerging out of the COVID lockdown restrictions that have affected travel and tourism so badly. My name is Rajan Datar. I'm a broadcaster and journalist, and I've specialised in travel, current affairs and business for many years, mostly for the BBC. And it's my great pleasure to be your host for a day that promises to be hugely illuminating. We have some of the sharpest minds and biggest players in the business. So let me first welcome my colleagues and the organisers to help kick off today's proceedings. Dr. Taleb Rifai, Chairman of ITIC and former Secretary General of UNWTO. Okay, so how are you?
Good to see you. It's always a breath of fresh air to hear you.
So tell me, as we, fingers crossed, hopefully emerge out of this lockdown period, what is for you is the priority, do you think? What should we be thinking about in tourism and travel?
We should be thinking of how we work together as governments and as nations, because it's all in the hands of governments now, unfortunately. It's not in the hands of people nor the private sector. Governments must learn how to work together, because that's the only way we could harmonize our procedures and move forward. Without harmonization, we won't be able to move anything forward. The multilateral system has failed us. We need to rebuild it. We need to reconstruct it. That's my point.
You also think that sustainability, in its many meanings, is going to be key to the future?
Definitely. We need to agree together on a definition for sustainability. I know this may offend some people. Sustainability is not just about the environmental sustainability, not just about climate change. Sustainability is simply sustain life on Earth for the future generations. And that means that sustainability is not something that is synonymous with preservation, conservation, not to touch things, not to move anything. We need to grow. We need to progress. Growth is a story of mankind all through its history. And population is growing whether we like it or not. They're growing in cities. Cities are producing 77% of the carbon in this world. And in the year 2030, there will be more than 50% of the people of the world living in cities. We need to live with that dilemma. We need to grow. We can't just be anti-growth. Sustainability is not anti-growth or anti-progress at all. I always say the city of Dubai was not more beautiful when there was only the desert. And the island of Manhattan was not more beautiful when there was only no New York. Or the archipelago of Venice was more beautiful before Venice was built. What the past generation built is our heritage today. And the heritage of tomorrow is what we build today. We must continue to build, construct and grow. But it's how and where and when we build. That's the point.
The other thing is, when we talk about sustainability, we are also now, it has broadened its definition, definitely now, hasn't it? Because we're talking about communities, we're talking about diversity, we're talking about making sure that the poorest in the world basically have the same chances as the rich. It's all piled into the same notion now, isn't it, of sustainability?
Absolutely. It's all about people at the end of the day. It's not about just the environment in its static form. It's about the people living on Earth. They need to live, and living with dignity is important. It's not just living and breathing. It's how you live. You need to progress. You need to grow. We have to keep that in mind, because it's about people at the end of, about the communities. That's very true.
Well, you're going to be with us throughout the day. I think you're on the first panel that we come.
I think so.
So stick around. Obviously, lovely to see you again.
Thank you.
Let me now hand over to Danielle Curtis, who is Exhibition Director, ATM Reed Exhibitions. Now, you were in Dubai last week, Danielle, and it went very well, I hear.
Yeah, good morning, Rajan. It really did. Thank you so much. We had such overwhelming support from the industry. ATM last week was the first major in-person international travel and tourism event in the world in 18 months. So I really am happy to advise that we had 62 countries represented and attendees from over 143 countries as we finished. So it really is and was a resounding success and living proof of our industry's resilience and of course the eagerness to get back to a sense of normalcy. I guess to touch on your point in particular, to travel to the region, which stands out as a perfect example of pandemic best practice, especially when it comes to health and safety standards, vaccination efforts, and effective tourism recovery strategies. So I guess our ATM in person and our ATM virtual event in the last 10 days, we actually featured 67 conferences. The sessions were with 145 local, regional, and international speakers overall. So really a lot of ground has been covered. We were tackling future trends, unveiling recovery plans across all of the sectors. The developments were showcased and debated, which will of course assist in us paving the way for the ongoing growth of the vibrant sector. I guess if we touch on the point of the overwhelming consensus from ITIC's forum last week for the in-person event, and of course to reiterate Taleb's points, it's extremely important that the countries do work together and share the best practice and align their protocols in order to get the global travel restarted seamlessly and safely. And a point was reiterated by the aviation experts earlier at ATM also. So I know today's ITIC's theme is to invest, to rebuild, to restart, and it does complement the overall ATM theme, which was a new dawn for travel and tourism. So both of these positive messages, I hope, will inspire the whole of the travel and tourism industry throughout the Middle East, and echoing the points of putting sustainability at the heart of future development of the tourism industry in the Middle East. It will be crucial to meet the expectations of local and international visitors who I know we know are more socially aware and informed than ever before. So actually, the industry has undoubtedly made some huge strides in this area, with already a range of initiatives across the sector, which are positively impacting the environment. So I know the summit will explore other ways to rebuild across the industry and continue with the future development plans, and of course, focus on a number of critical issues, giving those unable to attend last week's in-person event a way forward. So, handing back to you, Rajan, I'm sure that we'll touch on many other insights, but thank you and enjoy today's session.
Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you, Danielle. I was one of those people who couldn't make it to Dubai last week, and I was watching jealously on the screen, wishing I could be on a stage or just in the audience or anywhere that it isn't in my own home or in central London. So
it makes two of us.
And three of us, yes. Well, let me turn to you, Ibrahim Ayoub. You're Group CEO and MD of ITIC and Invest Tourism Limited. Tell me, ITIC were all, very much in presence last week. How did that go?
Yes, Rajan, good morning, everybody. And everyone who is watching us all around the world in different time zones, I believe. Right, because we have hundreds of connections all around the world this morning. Yes, Rajan, I mean, first of all, I feel really honored to welcome this morning ITIC ATM Virtual Summit. I mean, like Danielle said earlier, to restart and rebuilding of this tourism industry of the Middle East with the emphasis on investment in sustainable projects like Taleb highlighted, right? Yes. Last week was a resounding success, I would say, and I mean, in partnership, obviously, with ATM to hold this first face-to-face summit after 18 months. You were with us, Rajan, last time when we did our last summit was in November 2019, and we had several plans of hosting live event in 2020, which unfortunately had to review all our plans. So we are really, I would say, congratulations to ATM and Reed for having taken such an initiative, right, to conclude this successful face-to-face meeting last week. It was really a great achievement, I would say, with the numbers of destinations and numbers of conferences hosted live and thousands of delegates all around the world, I mean, who travel to Dubai safely. And it was done in a safe and secured environment. So congratulations again. As we say, the Middle East is standing out as a region offering its most exciting tourism prospects. I mean, following the pandemic and the COVID-19 vaccination campaign. Which I believe Dubai and the UAE are leading successfully to roll out this campaign. I would like also to seize this opportunity to congratulate the authorities of Dubai for their far-sighted, I would say, initiative to accelerate the recovery of their tourism industry. Like I voiced out last week, Dubai resilience needs to be commended and has already set the example for successful reopening of its borders to foreign visitors, and to show an example that we can hold successfully big events, globally big events. We can achieve that. It's a very good example for other destinations to follow, to gradually reopen their borders and to start some kind of a new normality, right? So I would say Dubai has taken decisive, timely decision in rolling out a massive vaccination campaign against the COVID-19 by ensuring a high rate of testing and by innovating in creating, for instance, travel corridors. Right, all these factors which need to be commended. And I'm sure Hisham, who is in a one-to-one interview with you later, Rajan will highlight quite a lot of few of their initiatives they took. Let me quickly drive you, if I'm not running against time, drive you quickly for the program of the day. Do I have some time to say that?
Very quickly, yes, you can just whiz through it. Yep.
I will start to thank all speakers and moderators who have graciously accepted to be part of today's summit. We have an impressive lineup. At 10:45, we'll begin with an overview of the Middle East changing economic landscape, led by the editorial director of Arabian Business, Eddie Taylor, having on his panel our chairman, Dr. Taleb, and to be joined by Nicolas Meyer, global tourism leader of PwC. And then we will have the chairman of Metis Institute, Mark Beer, who was previously the chief executive of Dubai International Financial Center Dispute Authority, if I'm not mistaken. Afterwards, at 11:15, Rajan, you will have that one-to-one interview with Hisham Kazim, CEO of Dubai Tourism. Furthermore, at 11:30, during a panel discussion on the Hotel of the Future, Doris Grief, Managing Director of Langham Hotel for Europe and Middle East, Dinky Puri will join this panel, Dimitrios Bouhalis, and we will have Benjamin Clifford from Nevaya, who will share the latest strategies to customize the hotel offerings to specific needs of travelers. And that panel will be again a back-to-back for you, Rajan, to moderate here. Then at 12:15, Gregory Shurabian, Investment Executive Director of the Red Sea, will unveil a successful sustainable tourism development. I mean, the Red Sea has very excellent prospect and investment opportunities in Saudi Arabia that he's going to drive us through. This presentation will then followed at 12:30 by a panel discussion on promoting gender equality in the Middle East. Interesting, participant on this panel with the former Minister of Bulgaria, Nikolina Angelkova. We have Maribel Rodriguez, who is actually the acting CEO of WTTC. We have Sumaira Isaac, CEO of World Tourism Forum Institute. Then Catherine Lattimore, who is going from a professor from Griffith University, Australia. And she is going to be joined by Sharihan Al-Mashari, who was the first female general manager in Dubai and the UAE, right? And this panel is going to be moderated by Dr. Nisha Abubakar, from a co-founder of World Women Tourism. At 13:15, we'll hear from Khalid Al-Mifta, Chairman of Sharjah Commerce and Tourism Development. His Excellency, former President of Mauritius, Amina Gurib Hakim, Hamad Al-Balawi, General Manager of Investment of Tourism at the Ministry of Tourism, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and Salvatore Lavallo, Head of FBI Attraction Abu Dhabi, right, to speak about investment in tourism for tapping its growth potential while remaining true to the high sustainability aspiration of different destinations. At 14 hours, we will have a presentation about China-Middle East cooperation presented by Marcus Lee, who is the chairman of SME Business Owners Association in China, then followed by at 2:20 for a holistic approach of the evolving tourism industry, a session driven by Professor Dimitrios Bouhalis of Bournemouth University. And on this panel, we will have, Dr. Sanjay, just to pronounce well his name, Nankani, and then we will have Priyanka Kapoor from Bell Swiss Hotel and Mark Abraham of Shackle Data, bring data and revenue back to hotels. Afterwards, we are going to have, last but not least, Darren Dunn, president and co-founder of Zartico, will tell us more about his story of capital raising for startup from a number of perspectives. So that's a little bit, then we will have the wrap up and closing. That's a little bit in a nutshell to tell you what today is going to have on the program. So I thank you all and wishing you an enjoyable summit with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ibrahim.
Fantastic, Ibrahim. And the only thing I can probably add here is that you watching can contribute to today. There are questions that you can put. There's a Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. And for every session, if you have a question, please write into that box and we'll try and get them answered for you. Okay, as Ibrahim mentioned, coming up very soon now, we're going to have a look at the economic outlook with some very clever people. So stay right there.